Hi, Scott, and welcome to Curious Collections with Marla Mogul. We're here today with Scott to hear about his pizza box collection. He received the Guinness World Record for having the most pizza boxes in 2013 when he had 595 boxes. And Scott has actually taken his collection and turned it into a full-blown business. Since that world record, I know you have a lot more than 595 boxes. How many do you have now?
Currently, I have 1,574. When it's the first record in a category, the bar is set based on that item and what it might be. When I was told, okay, you need to make sure that you have 500, and then I counted and I saw that I had almost just enough, just a little bit over the line. I was so thrilled. And then now to look back and see how large the collection has grown, it's it's kind of overwhelming.
So the first question that everybody asks me is, are the pizza boxes new or used?
They are almost entirely unused. Out of all 17 or 1574 boxes, there's probably only 20 or maybe 30 that have ever been used.
And how and why did you start collecting?
When I started my business, which is a tour company called Scott's Pizza Tours, the idea behind the tour company was to give people all of this background information, all this depth about a food that everybody, I think, takes for granted. 2/3 of all the pizzas eaten in America touch a pizza box at some point. So I had to learn about the box. As I learned about pizza boxes, I started saving them. And the more I saved, the more shelving I had to install in my apartment to hold the boxes. One day I was approached by a publisher about writing a book about pizza. And they said off the top of their head, one thing we've always wanted to do was a book about the art of pizza boxes. Any chance you know anything about that? And I said, I have a few hundred pizza boxes in a collection at home. And I thought that that's when they would say, like, check, please. But no, they said, okay, you're the person to write the book. And then that is what really made the collection official, which is that I now had a real reason to save the boxes. I need to save them as an archivist to protect them from their inevitable demise. Essentially, they're created to be thrown out, and I'm trying to save them.
That's great. Whoever knew? I mean, did you think this collection would have turned into you writing a book and becoming this aficionado on pizzas? Was that your intention?
Never the intention. I thought that the pizza tour company would be great because I'm obsessed with pizza and I'm obsessed with all things pizza. So the box is, of course, part of that and part of the culture. But I never thought that it would turn into a world record and a book and all this.
So you're in New York. Do you only collect boxes that are from New York, or do you get them from other places as well?
I actually have collected boxes from all over the world. So when I'm traveling or when somebody I know is traveling, then people just grab boxes for me as a souvenir. So in the collection, I have at least 110 countries covered, and I have a box from every continent, even Antarctica. So it's a collection that really spans the globe.
That's great. So pizza is definitely universal. And there's a lot of, I think, misconception about where pizza, I mean, was it founded in Italy, or what is just a little bit of the history about pizza?
Pizza that we use today to describe this savory dish really describes pizza napoletana, which is a food that came out of not Italy, but specifically Naples. That food is composed of tomatoes, which are from South America, mozzarella, which was originally made from the milk of the Asian water buffalo from India, basil, also from India. So it's all these things that came together in a port city and these global foods that come together and are combined and then sort of exported to the rest of the world as an Italian product. But they really, it begins as this global combination. And after that Neapolitan export in the late 19th century to North and South America, suddenly it becomes this global food once again.
Do you have a favorite pizza box in your collection?
I have a few favorites, and it's hard because when I flip through the collection, every one I see, I think, oh, that one. It's like seeing an old friend. It's like, oh, of course, that one. And I remember where I got it, who gave it to me, and like the image that strikes me. But when you ask me that, what's my favorite? There's one particular box that I really love, which is it's an image of a generic pizza box. It's not custom for one pizzeria, it's generic. And it's Bart and Homer Simpson in a pizzeria, but they're not really Bart and Homer. They're slightly different. They're different enough so that it's not really trademark infringement. And when I put it in the book, I sent a message to Matt Groening and to 20th Century Fox to say, hey, is this your image? And then they said, no, this is not our image. It's definitely just a knockoff, and we love it. You got to send us the book. This is funny.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I've got some Simpsons in my wind up toy collection, and they're always winners. People love the Simpsons.
Always.
Where do you have them displayed? I mean, I've got wind up toys. They're very easy to display. They're small. Where do you display, or do you display all those boxes?
I don't really display any of the boxes for a few reasons. One is I want to keep them protected, but also it's hard to pick which boxes I would display and where I would display them. In my home, I try to keep all of my pizza stuff in one room. This is my office. So behind me, I have a bag of flour, framed special bag of flour. And then I have a poster from a pizza box factory that lists all of the mistakes that could happen with the printing process. So I love that. And then I have a few that are up on a shelf, but those are not part of the collection. There's 5 of them. And those are ones that are hand painted. Somebody mailed them to me. And actually, one of them is part of the collection. It's a box that is a jigsaw puzzle. So the lid of it, you can pop out the pieces and make it into a puzzle.
Oh, that's fascinating, though. It's like, who knew? That, I think we traditionally just see pizza boxes from where we order, and that's it. So, do you have other pizza paraphernalia in addition to the boxes? Do you maybe not intentionally collect it, but you just happen to have it? Or do you?
I think you hit the nail on the head. It's not intentional, but because I do pizza tours, that's my job. People always bring me pizza paraphernalia. Just yesterday, somebody gave me a spoon rest, like a ladle rest, and it says something like, don't look for love, look for pizza. And it's just like, this is the stuff that just finds its way to me. I don't go looking for it, but I embrace it.
Okay, so you have taken this collection and your expertise and you've really turned it into a full-blown business, which I find fascinating. And I think that's what people really want to hear about it, is how do you take something you're passionate about and actually turn it into a full-blown business?
I started running pizza tours in 2008. The thing that I like so much about pizza is the sharing it with other people aspect. And conversations that you have when you're waiting in the line at a pizzeria with other people. Oh, have you tried this place? Oh, I love what they do with their cheese at this place. And I figured if I can take it a step further and if I can help explain to people why they're doing that with the cheese or how they're doing that with their dough, whatever it might be, then that will make me a more valuable asset to them in explaining the whole process. And so that's what the tour became, was an explanation how to take your love of pizza to the next level.
You have bus tours and walking tours, is that correct?
We do a bus tour every Sunday, and then every other day of the week, well, not every day, but most days of the week, we do walking tours.
You've done other things as well. You've written a book, and you write for Pizza Today magazine, which I had no idea even existed. You've created a nonprofit to relieve hunger. And you have a documentary. Can you tell us about those things that you've done in addition to your pizza tours?
When I started doing the tour, it's immediately clear to me that doing a food tour, which I started doing when like food blogging was a big thing. And I realized that treating food like it's entertainment is something that is really a privileged activity to do. So when I think, for a good time, I'm going to go to 2 or 3 delis and try their corned beef sandwich. That's not a normal thing. And we have to be very respectful of the fact that that's not a normal thing. That's a very privileged thing. So I didn't want to put the kibosh on it totally. I decided to use the momentum of interest in food and interest in pizza to swing that energy in a positive way and to try to use it to alleviate the hunger problem that we have. So Slice Out Hunger became this annual event that we sold pizza for $1 per slice, and it was pizza from all over New York City. We had all the pizza makers come to one location, and then all the money we raised would get matched by corporate sponsors, and then we'd donate that to a local hunger relief organization. Now, Slice Out Hunger, as of 2015, is its own nationwide 501c3. And when I say that, I mean that we do work all over the country. We've raised over $1 million to alleviate hunger. And that's all because I want to treat food with respect. When people see a food tour, they think, oh, I'm going to gorge myself on pizza. I'm going to be so full. And really, that's not the goal. The goal is for you to get an understanding and a respect for the food. And of course, it's a full meal, so that's okay. But I also want to give the tour the opportunity to do something positive for people who can't just choose to take a fun eating adventure.
I imagine that pizza businesses did really, really well during the pandemic. Is that correct?
At first, we weren't sure what was going to happen. So that's why we did a campaign called Pizza versus Pandemic that raised money to buy pizza from pizzerias to be sent to local healthcare workers. And we thought, great, this is going to help the pizzerias. And then it turned out a lot of the pizzerias were in pretty good shape. So most of them said to us, you know what, thanks, we appreciate you trying to help us, but why don't we just give you a discount so you can buy our pizza, but this way the money will last longer.
Again, I'm a pizza lover. So actually, let's talk more about pizza. You're in New York, I'm in Chicago. And I think there's sometimes that, not rivalry, but I think just opinions of deep dish pizza in Chicago. And I would like to hear your take on that, based in New York, what you think is Chicago style deep dish pizza. Is that really pizza?
I love that question. And it speaks to what we look for and what entertains us with food is that we look for those polar opposites because that seems like we there's part of our soul that just craves this controversy. And we see New York as being this thin crust, and then we see Chicago as being this deep dish, and they're opposites. They must be enemies. And we forget, New Yorkers just never knew, but that Chicago is mostly eating thin crust pizza. And that deep dish is a much more recent evolution and change. And when I see a deep dish pizza, I don't think this derogatory, oh, it's not pizza, oh, it's lasagna. To me, it is absolutely pizza. You can't argue that it's not pizza. It's absolutely pizza. It's just that we eat it in a different context. New Yorkers want a slice that you can grab and go, and that it could be a snack or it could be a meal. And with deep dish pizza, it's an investment. It's going to take 45 minutes to get your pizza. When you eat your first slice, you feel like you need to take a nap before you even try a second one. And if you get through a second one, forget it, food coma. So it's just different. And it's delicious, but I don't eat deep dish pizza when what I want is New York style. And I don't eat New York style when what I'd want is deep dish. It's so beautiful that pizza can be a chameleon and it doesn't have to conform to the one thing. What about New York style? I'm curious to hear about your opinions on deep dish, Chicago style, thin crust, New York style. Do you have a preference?
Well, I have to admit, being from Chicago, I prefer thin crust pizza. I like deep dish, of course, I eat it. First of all, I love what you said about really, it's a commitment. I never really thought of it like that. But yeah, you actually sit down and you dine. Are there certain trends right now in pizza?
There's kind of a trend toward using sourdough starter in your dough, using fresh milled grain in your dough. So people are getting more into flour. And I think that in the near future, we'll be getting more into olive oil, which right now, for most people, olive oil is either extra virgin or it's not, and that's the only thing. But then within extra virgin, there's so much variation. I think our next step is to get into that.
What do you think of, now they've got the gluten-free and the no cheese, the white pizza, the cauliflower crust. What do you think of those? And do you think that's making a difference in the pizza industry?
Pizza is always such a beautiful food because it changes. The pizza that was in Naples in the late 1700s is totally different from what we have today, but they're all pizza. So if pizza can't conform to new dietary restrictions or trends, then it's not as relevant a food. And I think pizza is always so relevant because you can make a gluten-free version, and maybe there you can argue that it's not a pizza. But at the end of the day, somebody's enjoying it in the way that is a surrogate for pizza, and that you can't get in the way of. white pizzas, vegan pizzas. There's nothing about it that violates the word pizza.
So as a pizza consultant, what does that mean? What specifically do you do when you work with the pizza places?
So when I do consulting work, it's even more for ingredient companies and sometimes frozen pizza companies, rarely for pizzerias because I don't work in pizzerias. I've never owned a pizzeria. I don't have much to contribute to that. It might be a company like a flour company that's developing a product and they want a perspective that's more familiar with the audience that they're looking for. And that might be me, or a tomato company or an olive oil company, all sort of in the same lines.
And where do you see your business going next? Do you see you taking it in a new direction? Are you happy the way things are? Any growth plans?
No real growth plans. I really like staying in New York and doing our thing here. I have friends that have pizza tours in Chicago, in Milwaukee, all over the place. And I think that the only way that I might expand is to do little pop-ups here and there, because I find that there's more interesting places for pizza. And while I can't find another city that does exactly what New York does, I do find that it's interesting to go to other places and be able to investigate using the same attitude that I use for the New York pizza.
Okay, Scott, this has been so fascinating and I've learned so much from you. Where can people find you? I mean, do you have a YouTube channel, website? How can we find you and see more about what you're doing and even sign up for one of your pizza tours?
Yeah, easiest to find me at scottspizzatours.com. And that website also has the links to Instagram and the links to the YouTube channel and everything you can ever want and need for my pizza information.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Just hungry.
I am actually going to send you Malnati's pizza. So you'll have to tell me well, you know what? I was going to say, tell me your favorite toppings, but I think they only offer pepperoni and sausage for delivery. So you let me know which one you like, and I've got those in the mail to you.
That's amazing. When I'm getting a pizza from Chicago, I have to have sausage on it.
Okay,
the sausage capital of the world.
You're right. Okay, got it. It's a deal. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, we'll have to have a virtual pizza meetup when I get it.
Oh, okay. We've got a Malnati's right down the street, so it's a deal.
Sounds good to me. Thanks, Marla. Thanks for having me on the show.
All right. Thank you, Scott. It's been a pleasure. Have a great day. Okay.
Thanks. You too. Take care.